to create the owelty lien, the buyout lien, if you agree upon it and you create that owelty lien, the regular reverse mortgage, you can only access about 50% of the allowable equity in the first year.
All right, welcome to My Divorce Real Estate, and today we have Bob Dwayne back with MiMutual Mortgage, and I work with Bob. So Bob has always been an excellent resource for knowledge, and today we're talking about the divorce aspect of using a reverse mortgage during the situation of divorce. So very nuanced thing that can happen with the divorce, and using the reverse mortgage as a tool to help divide those assets is going to be a really awesome way to approach this. So I'm going to switch over to Bob and let him talk for a minute about some of this stuff.
Scotty, thanks for having me back. And, this segment, we want to talk about how do you potentially use a reverse mortgage in a divorce buyout. In the state of Texas, that's called an owelty. And, we're talking to somebody, the first thing, you have to be over 62 years old. And so if you're over 62 and you have a lot of equity in the home, obviously, if you've been married for a long time and you've been paying the house down or paid it off, you have a lot of equity in the home. And your ex-spouse that you're divorcing is going to want their share of that equity. Well, if you just go to somebody that does reverse mortgages and is not a divorce lending specialist, they won't understand what I'm going to talk about for the next couple minutes, which is to create the owelty lien, the buyout lien. If you agree upon it and you create that owelty lien, the regular reverse mortgage, you can only access about 50% of the allowable equity in the first year. So that may not be enough to pay the owelty off. So what we've done on several is we've helped attorneys. They agree on the amount. We file the owelty. That is a lien. A lien, no different than if you owed them part of the mortgage, a second mortgage to another bank. It's a lien that can be that's a lien that can be paid off in the first year so that your ex-spouse could get all their buyout money, all their owelty lien at closing.
So that's right there allows you to do something that you couldn't do with a typical, if you go into a regular lender and they're going to go, well, we can only tap so much equity of the home, so it's probably not going to work for you. So you should go ahead and sell it, or maybe we can set you up with another mortgage, but then maybe you can't afford that because your income isn't there because you're retired, right? So
one case that comes to mind, that the person was a retired executive and paid the house off, and we created the owelty, filed the owelty. The ex-spouse got her money at time of closing, and we were the third financing institution he talked to because everybody else said you couldn't do it. Yeah. And we don't break the rules, we just live outside the box. And if you do it right, it's proper and legal. It's a lien, and you file that lien ahead of time. Most attorneys and or people don't understand that that you filing that lien puts that lien on that property, and we can pay it off in the first year with a reverse mortgage. So if somebody's over 62 and going through a divorce, they've probably been married a long time, and we want to be sensitive, and we want to help those people and be there to help them. The last thing you want to do is work all your life. You have your home, you're ready to retire in it. Unfortunately, you're going through a stage in life where you're going through a divorce. And the last thing you want to do is have to sell the house to move somewhere else to start all over again. You want to keep things as normal as you possibly can. When we're dealing with young clients, we're trying to keep kids in their rooms so that they can, stay in the same school. When you're dealing with seniors, if somebody's using a reverse mortgage, it's so they can live with the memories of the house that they've had for many years. So it's a great tool. In our other segment, we talked about it's not for everybody. I think it's a good option. I always like to know, what are my options? If a rate and term refi is the right option with an owelty, or a reverse mortgage with an owelty is the right option. I want somebody as talented as Scotty to be able to look at both those options and tell the client and the attorney which is the best option, and which one gives you peace of mind going forward. It's all about peace of mind. It's all about, hey, do I get to live in the house that I'm living in and can live in the rest of my life without having to worry about it and not have to make a mortgage payment? That's a powerful thing after somebody goes through a traumatic, experience of going through a divorce at that age.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why we're doing this, right? Because we're trying to help people meet them where they're at and offer them tools that can allow them, hey, not just, hey, here's our one tool, we got a hammer, you look like a nail, right? We're going to say, hey, based on all of our knowledge and experience of dealing with the divorce aspect, what is the best situation for you? And we'll talk with your attorney and help, work that situation out. And our job is always to advise and say, here's what our options are. And then the client gets to make the decision about what's, which direction they want to move. Sometimes we don't always agree what that option is, what's the best for them, because it's maybe more emotional for them. And we're trying to usually look at it from a financial or a non-emotional perspective. But it's, I do love this aspect of offering this unique, like I say, other people aren't offering this, right? Other people don't even understand it. And for the longest time before, I met Bob and Noel, like I didn't understand it either. So it's like, it's not unusual that you're watching this video and you might not understand everything that Bob is saying. But the key is that, hey, you got somebody that if you're in the situation of going through divorce and you're over 62, call us and contact us and we can get you connected and to us, and we'll then walk you through this process and see what is best for you, right? So and so I think what was important, we talked about in the other video, I think I want to talk about a little bit, is that if you are able to just afford the taxes and the insurance, you don't have a mortgage payment, right? And so you get to at least stay in the home, and and you could stay there for till you die, right? I mean, you're never gonna have a mortgage payment, right? And that offers you so much peace of mind that you don't have to have this big scary mortgage payment now, because otherwise if you're doing just a traditional buyout, now you got this mortgage payment. Now how are you going to afford that? And your income, your house for day one, right? So I think the reverse mortgage is a strong tool to look at. It's not like Bob says, not every situation is going to be the correct one for them, but we're here to help you determine that.
Scotty, you reminded me, Noel and I had lunch with some family law attorneys on Friday, and one of them said he used this family law attorney, said this, and I thought, this is a great illustration. He said, his client said, I want 50% of the tools. I want 50% of those tools. And he said, well, what are the tools worth? They're worth $2,000. So you want $1,000 of those tools? Yes. And he said, have you ever used any of those tools? And she said, no. And he said, all right, you're going to spend about $3,000 to get $1,000 worth of tools that you could buy, brand new, you could buy for $1,000. So is it the right? It's emotional. It's a principle of things. And what we try to do with what you just said is to take the emotion out and give you the options that are best for you, so that you can determine, is this the best plan for me? Is a regular rate and term refi with a buyout owelty, or a reverse mortgage with one? What are the two options? What are the upsides of both, and what are the downsides of both? And sharing those puts you in the driver's seat. We don't like to tell people what to do. We like to give them the options and show them and help them make the decision that's in best interest for them.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, no, I think that's great, what you said there. And I think that, there's this fear. I want to touch on this aspect because there's fear is always false evidence appearing real, right? And so there's this fear of the unknown. And a lot of people don't know about reverse mortgages. I mean, I had an hour-long discussion with an attorney just this couple of weeks ago about the reverse mortgage and why it was right for their client and why I was kind of recommending it, because she didn't understand it. And that's not new that the attorney doesn't understand, or that you might understand. But today, why we're recording this video and the other video was that we at least want to give you a starting point off to show you that it isn't scary to have this reverse mortgage, that it is a great option for a lot of situations. Because I was reading some literature earlier, it said only 1% of the people that are eligible to do it even use the reverse mortgage as an option, right? I mean, the other big option is to sell, right? And then where are you going to go? So to tap the equity, right? So
There's 10,000 people a day turning 62 and older. And unfortunately, a lot of those are going through a life change, which includes a divorce. And the reverse mortgage is only started in 1990s. And so it's new and people haven't heard about it. And what they have heard about it, uh, because it's something they don't know about, they're scared about it. Find out about it. I was that way. If you listen to the last video, I was skeptical of it, and I went from a skeptic to a huge fan. It's not for everybody, but everybody should look at that as an option.
yeah. Well, let's wrap it up there so we don't get too long with this, Bob. But I really appreciate you coming on again and having us helping us record the second video so that we can get the information out there about reverse mortgages. If you are going through a divorce, you can always reach out to us at the Gifford Group. We try to offer a lot of tools and resources on our website, but you can always schedule a call with us. And then you would be working, I work with Bob on a weekly basis, daily basis. So you get all of his knowledge through me. So
Well, thank you, Scotty. You and Amber are an awesome team, and I will just tell people that are listening to this, you're looking at half of a great team there in the Gifford Group, and you need to realize they've got a lot of personal experience and business experience, so they'll really help you. So reach out to Scotty or Amber.
all right. Well, thanks, Bob, so much. And as always, we bring you real life experience to all your real estate needs.